All right, let's do a deep dive into this fascinating connection between the gut and the mitochondria, those tiny powerhouses in our cells. You sent over some really interesting research on how they impact each other, mitochondria, the gut microbiome, and even metabolites.
Yeah.
So we're going to really explore how these systems work together and what it all means for our health.
What's really interesting is, for so long, we've studied all these systems separately, but now we're just starting to uncover this really intricate connection between them.
Yeah, it's like we're realizing there's a whole secret conversation happening inside of us. So let's start with a little mitochondria refresher.
Okay.
We know they're often called the powerhouses of our cells, but what makes them so crucial for our overall health?
Well, the energy production is just one part of the story. Mitochondria are involved in so many cellular processes. They're like signaling hubs, constantly communicating with different parts of the body.
Oh, wow.
And they're essential for organs that need like a lot of energy to function, like your brain, heart, and muscles.
So if our mitochondria aren't working properly, it could have a ripple effect on the entire body.
Exactly. When mitochondria are struggling, it can impact everything from brain health and aging to like how well our immune system functions.
Yeah.
It's like a domino effect.
So healthy mitochondria are definitely something we want to prioritize. But now let's turn to the other big player in this deep dive, the gut microbiome. What makes this world of microbes so important for human health?
The gut microbiome is home to like trillions of bacteria, fungi, and viruses. It's incredibly diverse. And
Wow.
the Human Microbiome Project has shown that even in healthy individuals, there's a wide variety of microbes in the gut.
Really?
And that diversity is actually a good thing.
So it's kind of like a bustling city, and we want a diverse population to keep things running smoothly.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Hmm.
And just like in a city, when things get out of balance, problems can arise. And disruptions to the gut microbiome, often called dysbiosis, are linked to a bunch of health problems.
Okay, so what we eat, where we live, and even our genetics can all impact the balance of our gut microbiome.
Absolutely. All of those factors contribute to the unique mix of microbes that reside in your gut.
Which brings us to the heart of our deep dive, the communication between mitochondria and the gut microbiome. I'm really curious to understand how these two seemingly separate worlds interact.
Yeah, it is fascinating. The Frontiers article you shared includes a really helpful visual, figure one, that shows how these two systems are in constant communication. And what we're learning is that it's a two-way street. Mitochondria can influence the composition of the gut microbiome and vice versa.
There was a study mentioned in the article that really caught my eye. Researchers found that mice with different mitochondrial mutations had distinct gut microbiome profiles, even when they were raised by the same mother.
That's a powerful study because it suggests a strong link between how well our mitochondria function and the types of microbes that thrive in our gut. But what's the language of this communication? That's when metabolites come in.
Ah, yes, the metabolite messengers. I'm really eager to learn more about how these molecules, produced by both mitochondria and the gut microbiome, facilitate this crosstalk.
Well, let's start with the mitochondria. Inside these tiny powerhouses, a process called the TCA cycle is constantly churning, producing metabolites like succinate and lactate. These molecules play key roles in various cellular processes, and when things go awry, they can signal trouble.
The Frontiers article pointed out a link between the buildup of succinate and inflammatory conditions, especially in inflammatory bowel diseases. That seems significant.
It does. It suggests that when mitochondria aren't functioning optimally, the resulting buildup of succinate could contribute to that chronic inflammation seen in conditions like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis.
And what about lactate? The article mentioned its role as a marker for mitochondrial dysfunction.
Yeah, elevated lactate levels can be a red flag, signaling that something's amiss with mitochondrial function. It's actually a biomarker used to diagnose some mitochondrial diseases. But it's important to remember that metabolites from the gut microbiome also have a profound impact on how well our mitochondria function.
And it seems like one of the stars of the show in the gut microbiome is butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid.
Yes,
Some of the research on its effects is really exciting.
it is. Studies have shown that butyrate can actually improve the respiration of colonocytes, the cells that line your colon. And it's been shown to improve mitochondrial function in several disease models.
There was even a study where butyrate improved mitochondrial function in cells from boys with autism who also had mitochondrial dysfunction. That opens up a lot of possibilities, doesn't it?
It does. It suggests that manipulating the microbiome, perhaps through diet or targeted interventions, could have a positive impact on mitochondrial health in a variety of conditions. But butyrate isn't the only intriguing metabolite produced by the gut microbiome.
Right. The research mentions several others, like urolithin A, physitine, quercetin, and curcumin. It seems like there's a whole pharmacy of potential benefits waiting to be unlocked.
There is. And while many of these compounds show promise, it's important to remember that the world of metabolites is complex. For example, hydrogen sulfide, another microbial metabolite, can be beneficial in low concentrations, but too much of it can be detrimental.
It seems like balance is a recurring theme here.
It is.
The article also talked about bile acids and how they can contribute to cell death at high levels.
Yes, it's a reminder that too much of a good thing can sometimes become a problem. And speaking of balance, we should also mention TMAO, a metabolite linked to red meat consumption that has been shown to impair mitochondrial function.
So that's another link between diet, the microbiome, and mitochondrial health. This is also interconnected. But what does this mean for people who are living with mitochondrial diseases? Does this research offer any hope for them?
That's a crucial question. And while the research directly examining mitochondrial diseases and the microbiome is still limited, there's a sense of cautious optimism.
The Frontiers article did highlight the potential for dietary and microbial-based interventions, which is exciting.
It is. Imagine being able to manipulate the microbiome to improve the lives of those with mitochondrial diseases. But more research is needed to understand how altered mitochondrial metabolites in these diseases affect the microbiome. There's so much more to explore.
Absolutely. Even with the current research, it's clear that the communication between mitochondria and the gut microbiome is incredibly important for our health. But before we go any further, I think it's important to acknowledge that studying these complex systems presents some significant challenges.
You're right, studying both mitochondria and the microbiome is incredibly complex.
The Frontiers article reassured readers that scientists are aware of these challenges and are working hard to overcome them.
One of the biggest hurdles is designing studies that can clearly establish cause and effect relationships. It's difficult to isolate the impact of one factor when you have so many intricate interactions happening simultaneously.
And we have to be mindful of potential unintended consequences of any interventions. It's not a simple fix.
Definitely not. But despite the challenges, there's a sense of hope for the future, especially with the potential for personalized medicine. Imagine tailoring treatments based on an individual's unique mitochondrial and microbiome profiles.
That would be incredible. So we have explored this fascinating world of mitochondria, the gut microbiome, and the intricate communication between them. We even touched on the potential for manipulating these systems to improve health. But you mentioned exercise in your intro. I'm really interested to learn how exercise fits into this whole picture.
Ah, yes. Exercise is another key player in this intricate dance. It turns out that regular physical activity can have a profound impact on both mitochondrial function and the gut microbiome.
That makes sense. After all, mitochondria are responsible for providing energy for movement.
Exactly. The intertwined relationship article you shared really delves into the connection between exercise, mitochondria, and the gut microbiome. It's a fascinating read.
I can't wait to hear more. So how does exercise actually impact our mitochondria at a cellular level?
Well, think of exercise as a workout for your mitochondria. When we push our bodies physically, we're putting demands on those little powerhouses to produce more energy. This challenge actually triggers them to adapt and become more efficient.
So the more we exercise, the stronger and more capable our mitochondria become.
That's the idea. Regular exercise stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis, the process of creating new mitochondria, and it also improves the function of existing mitochondria, making them better at producing energy.
That explains why we feel more energetic and have more stamina when we exercise regularly. Our cells are literally becoming more powerful. But you mentioned that exercise also impacts the gut microbiome. How does that work?
Research has shown that exercise can shift the composition and diversity of the gut microbiome, often in a positive way.
Right.
It can increase the abundance of beneficial bacteria, especially those that produce those beneficial short-chain fatty acids we discussed earlier.
Wait a minute, you mean butyrate, that mitochondrial hero, is also boosted by exercise. It's like a double win for mitochondrial health.
You got it. Exercise seems to directly improve mitochondrial function and indirectly support their health by promoting the growth of butyrate-producing bacteria in the gut.
That's incredible. What about those other microbial metabolites we talked about earlier, like urolithin A? Does exercise influence those as well?
While research on exercise and those specific metabolites is still in its early stages, it's reasonable to think that exercise could have a broader impact on the production of many beneficial microbial compounds. It's like exercise is creating a more favorable environment for a whole range of positive changes in the gut.
So it's not just about burning calories and building muscle. Exercise is also about shaping these internal ecosystems in ways that benefit our overall health.
Precisely. And the benefits go beyond physical health. Some studies suggest that exercise-induced changes in the microbiome can positively influence mental health and cognitive function as well. It's truly a whole-body phenomenon.
This is fascinating, but before we get too carried away with the benefits, I'm curious about the specifics. How does the type, intensity, or duration of exercise influence the microbiome?
That's a great question. Research suggests that moderate to intense aerobic exercise, like running or cycling, seems to have the most significant impact on microbial diversity and composition.
So a leisurely stroll might not be enough to really shake things up in the gut.
Well, any movement is better than none, but to really see those positive shifts in the microbiome, it seems like you need to challenge yourself a bit.
Makes sense. And the intertwined relationship article mentions some specific bacteria that are influenced by exercise.
Yes, one study found that a 6-week program of moderate to intense aerobic exercise led to a substantial increase in Faecalibacterium and Lactospora species. These bacteria are known for their production of short-chain fatty acids, including butyrate.
So those are the good guys we want to encourage to flourish in our gut. But what happens if we're not exercising regularly? Does a sedentary lifestyle negatively impact the microbiome?
Unfortunately, the answer seems to be yes. Prolonged periods of inactivity can lead to a decrease in microbial diversity and an increase in less beneficial bacteria. It's like exercise helps maintain a healthy balance, while a sedentary lifestyle tips the scales in the wrong direction.
That's even more motivation to get moving. But what about the role of specific bacteria in exercise performance itself? Does the microbiome actually impact how well we perform during a workout?
That's a really intriguing area of research, and there are some fascinating findings emerging. One study looked at marathon runners and found that the abundance of Veillonella bacteria was positively correlated with extensive physical activity.
Vanilla. Didn't we talk about those bacteria earlier?
We did. These bacteria are unique because they can use lactate, which our muscles produce during exercise, as their primary fuel source. The researchers in the study actually inoculated mice with Veillonella and found that it significantly increased their endurance during treadmill running.
So these lactate-loving bacteria might be helping us run farther and faster.
That's what the research suggests. It's exciting to think that we might be able to manipulate the microbiome to enhance athletic performance. But it's not a one-way street. The gut microbiome also plays a role in how well we recover from exercise.
Right, because the microbiome is involved in nutrient absorption and immune function, which are both crucial for recovery.
Exactly. A healthy gut microbiome helps us absorb nutrients from the food we eat, which is essential for replenishing energy stores and repairing muscle tissue after a workout. It also helps regulate inflammation and fight off infections, both of which are important for recovery.
So it's like a positive feedback loop. Exercise helps the microbiome, and a healthy microbiome supports better exercise performance and recovery.
Precisely. It's a beautiful example of how interconnected our bodies are and how different systems work together to support our overall well-being.
Okay, so we've established that exercise benefits both mitochondria and the gut microbiome, but what about the role of exerkines? I know those are signaling molecules released during exercise, but how do they fit into this whole picture?
Ectokines are fascinating messengers. They're released from various tissues, including muscles, during physical activity, and they travel throughout the body, communicating with different organs.
And what kind of messages are they sending to the gut microbiome?
Research is uncovering a really interesting interplay between exerkines and the gut microbiome. It seems that these signaling molecules can actually influence the composition and activity of the gut microbiota, further contributing to the overall health benefits of exercise.
So like exercise sets off a chain reaction. We move, exerkines are released, and then they shape the gut microbiome, leading to a cascade of positive effects.
You've got it. It really highlights the complex connections between these systems and how exercise can positively impact our health on multiple levels.
This is all so fascinating. But is everyone's microbiome impacted by exercise in the same way? Or do we see individual variations?
That's an important question. While exercise is generally beneficial for the microbiome, the specific changes that occur can vary from person to person. Factors like genetics, diet, lifestyle, and even the types of exercise you engage in can all influence how your microbiome responds to physical activity.
So it's like everyone has their own unique microbial fingerprint that exercise can enhance in different ways.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered how exercise shapes both mitochondria and the gut microbiome, but you also mentioned diet in your intro. I'm ready to dive into how the food we eat impacts these systems.
Diet is absolutely crucial. What we eat doesn't just provide fuel for our workouts, it also nourishes the trillions of microbes living in our gut.
So our diet is like a buffet for our gut microbes.
You could say that. Different dietary patterns lead to distinct microbial communities, and those communities, in turn, impact our health in various ways.
So a diet full of processed foods and sugar probably isn't creating the best environment for those beneficial microbes to thrive.
You're right. Diets high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats tend to promote the growth of less beneficial bacteria and reduce microbial diversity, which can have negative downstream effects on both mitochondrial health and exercise performance.
So it's not just about what we eat on the days we work out. It's about making healthy choices consistently to support a thriving gut microbiome.
Exactly. A balanced and diverse diet, rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean protein, provides the nutrients both our bodies and our gut microbes need.
Okay, a balanced diet is important, but are there any specific foods or nutrients that are particularly beneficial for both mitochondria and the gut?
There are. One group that has garnered a lot of attention is polyphenols. These plant compounds are found in fruits, vegetables, and beverages like tea and coffee.
Polyphenols, those are the
Okay.
antioxidant powerhouses, right? What's their connection to mitochondria and the gut?
Well, polyphenols are known for their anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, which help protect mitochondria from damage. Some polyphenols, like resveratrol found in grapes and berries, can even activate sirtuins, proteins that are involved in mitochondrial biogenesis.
So they're like tiny warriors fighting off mitochondrial damage and even promoting the creation of new mitochondria.
I like that analogy. And what's really cool is that polyphenols also interact with the gut microbiome, promoting the growth of beneficial bacteria and influencing the production of certain metabolites. It's a win-win.
That is cool. Are there any other dietary heroes we should know about?
Absolutely. Fiber is another key player. While we can't digest fiber directly, our gut microbes can, and they thrive on it.
So fiber is essentially food for our gut microbes.
Exactly. Fiber acts as a prebiotic, promoting the growth of beneficial bacteria. And as those bacteria ferment fiber, they produce short-chain fatty acids, like our friend butyrate, which we know benefits mitochondrial health.
It seems like a lot of these dietary recommendations are about supporting the gut microbiome, which then has positive effects on mitochondria. It's all interconnected.
You're absolutely right. The gut microbiome is a central player in this whole equation, and what we eat has a profound impact on its composition and activity.
So if we want to optimize both our mitochondrial health and our athletic performance, should we all be loading up on polyphenols and fiber?
Well, it's not quite as simple as that. Supplements can be helpful, but the key is to adopt an overall balanced and diverse diet that includes plenty of plant-based foods, whole grains, and lean protein. That's what will create the most supportive environment for a healthy microbiome.
So it's about creating a dietary environment that nourishes both our bodies and our gut microbes, ultimately benefiting our mitochondria and helping us reach our full athletic potential.
That's a great way to put it. It's all about creating a harmonious internal ecosystem that supports overall health and well-being.
Okay, so we've explored how exercise and diet shape both mitochondria and the gut microbiome. But are there any other lifestyle factors that play a role in this intricate interplay?
There are several other lifestyle factors can influence both mitochondrial function and the gut microbiome, further impacting our overall health and athletic performance. Things like sleep and stress, for instance.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's talk about sleep first. We all know it's important, but how does it specifically impact mitochondria and the gut microbiome?
Sleep is crucial for both. When we sleep, our cells engage in repair and regeneration, and mitochondria play a key role in these processes. They need time to recharge and repair themselves, just like we do.
So if we're constantly sleep deprived, our mitochondria might not be functioning at their best.
Exactly. Chronic sleep deprivation can impair mitochondrial function, leading to reduced energy production and increased oxidative stress. And as we discussed earlier, mitochondrial dysfunction can have cascading effects on the gut microbiome, potentially throwing things out of balance.
So getting enough sleep isn't just about feeling rested, it's about supporting mitochondrial and gut health.
You got it. Prioritizing sleep is crucial for maintaining a healthy internal ecosystem.
Okay, what about stress? We all experience it, but how does it impact mitochondria and the gut microbiome?
Chronic stress is a real problem for both systems. When we're stressed, our bodies release hormones like cortisol, which can disrupt mitochondrial function, leading to reduced energy production and increased oxidative stress.
So stress is essentially creating a toxic environment for our mitochondria.
That's one way to put it, and unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. Stress can also directly impact the gut microbiome, often leading to reduced diversity and an increase in less beneficial bacteria.
So it's a double whammy for both systems. What can we do to mitigate the negative effects of stress?
Well, there's no one-size-fits-all solution, but incorporating stress management techniques into our daily routines can make a big difference. Things like mindfulness, meditation, yoga, and even just spending time in nature can help reduce stress levels and promote a more balanced internal ecosystem.
So alongside a healthy diet and exercise, we should be prioritizing stress reduction for a healthy gut and healthy mitochondria.
Absolutely. It's about taking a holistic approach to well-being, recognizing that all of these lifestyle factors are interconnected and influence each other.
Okay, so we've talked about exercise, diet, sleep, and stress. Are there any other proactive steps we can take to support our mitochondria and gut microbiome?
There's some really exciting areas of research focused on targeted interventions like prebiotics, probiotics, and even fecal microbiota transplantation, or FMT.
Okay, let's break those down. Prebiotics, I know those are the fibers that feed our gut microbes, right?
Exactly. Think of prebiotics as fertilizer for your gut garden. By incorporating prebiotic-rich foods into our diets, we can help promote a more diverse and balanced microbiome.
And probiotics, those are the actual live bacteria that we can consume.
That's right. Probiotics introduce new strains of beneficial bacteria to the gut ecosystem. They come in various forms like supplements, fermented foods, and even some medications.
So it's like adding reinforcements to the gut's army of beneficial bacteria. But with so many different probiotic options out there, how do we know which ones to choose?
That's where it can get tricky. The world of probiotics is vast, with various strains and formulations, each with its own potential benefits and mechanisms of action.
So there's no one-size-fits-all probiotic solution.
Not really. It depends on your individual needs and goals. Some strains might be better for supporting digestion, while others target immune function or mental health.
So it's important to do your research and consult with a healthcare professional to choose the right probiotic for your specific needs. What about FMT? You mentioned that earlier, and it sounds pretty intense.
FMT is definitely a more invasive approach, but it's showing promise for treating conditions where the gut microbiome is severely disrupted. It's essentially a reset button for the gut ecosystem.
So it's like giving someone a brand new, healthy gut microbiome.
That's the idea. By transferring fecal matter from a healthy donor, we're introducing a diverse and balanced microbial community into the recipient's gut.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. But are there any risks associated with FMT?
Like any medical procedure, there are risks. Careful screening of donors is essential to minimize the risk of transmitting infections. It's definitely not something to be taken lightly.
It sounds like a powerful tool, but one that needs to be used with caution. You mentioned earlier that while our genes can influence our predisposition to certain health outcomes, our lifestyle choices play a significant role as well. Can you elaborate on the interplay between genetics and lifestyle?
It's often referred to as the nature versus nurture debate.
So are our genes or our lifestyle choices more important for determining our health?
It's not a matter of one being more important than the other. Both nature and nurture play a role. Our genes provide the blueprint, but our lifestyle choices influence how that blueprint is read and expressed.
So even if we have a gene that predisposes us to a certain condition, our lifestyle choices can impact whether or not that condition actually develops.
Exactly. Think of it this way. You might have a gene that makes you more susceptible to having lower levels of beneficial bacteria in your gut. But by adopting a healthy diet rich in prebiotics and probiotics, you can actually shift your microbiome towards a more favorable state.
So we're not simply victims of our genes. We have the power to influence how those genes are expressed and impact our health outcomes.
That's exactly right. It highlights the power of lifestyle choices and the importance of taking a proactive approach to our well-being.
This is so empowering. Okay, so we've explored targeted interventions and the interplay between genetics and lifestyle, but I want to shift gears a bit and talk about how mitochondria, the gut microbiome, and the aging process are all connected.
The aging process. It's something we all face, and both mitochondria and the gut microbiome play a role in how we age.
Okay, let's start with mitochondria. How do they change as we get older?
As we age, our mitochondria naturally become less efficient. It's like they're slowing down a bit. They produce less energy, accumulate more damage, and become more susceptible to dysfunction.
So those tiny powerhouses are essentially slowing down with age.
That's one way to put it. And this decline in mitochondrial function is linked to many of the hallmarks of aging, like reduced energy levels, increased inflammation, and a greater risk of age-related diseases.
What about the gut microbiome? How does it change as we age?
The gut microbiome also undergoes changes. Typically, we see a decrease in diversity and an increase in the abundance of certain less beneficial bacteria.
So the gut ecosystem is becoming less diverse and potentially less balanced as we age.
Exactly. And those age-related changes in the gut microbiome are also linked to increased inflammation, a weakened immune system, and a higher risk of age-related diseases.
So both mitochondria and the gut microbiome contribute to the aging process. But are those changes happening independently, or are they influencing each other?
Emerging evidence suggests that there's a complex interplay between mitochondrial dysfunction and those age-related changes in the gut microbiome.
So it's like a vicious cycle. Mitochondrial dysfunction impacts the gut, making it less hospitable for beneficial bacteria, and an imbalanced gut microbiome further compromises mitochondrial health.
Exactly. It's a double whammy for aging. But the good news is that the strategies we've been discussing to support mitochondria and the gut microbiome can also promote healthy aging.
So by adopting those healthy habits we've been talking about, we're not just improving our health today, but also setting the stage for a healthier older age.
Precisely. It's all about making choices that support a vibrant internal ecosystem throughout our lifespan.
This is amazing. We've covered so much ground already. But before we move on to part 2 of this deep dive, there's one more connection I'm really curious to explore. The gut-brain axis.
The gut-brain axis is absolutely fascinating. It's this intricate communication pathway between the gut and the brain, and it plays a crucial role in influencing our mood, behavior, and even cognitive function.
So it's not just about digestion and nutrient absorption. The gut is actually communicating with our brains.
That's right. They're in constant communication through a complex network of nerves, hormones, and immune cells, and the gut microbiome plays a key role in this communication.
So those trillions of microbes in our gut are somehow influencing our thoughts and feelings. How is that even possible?
The gut microbiome produces a wide range of neuroactive compounds, including neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. These neurotransmitters are crucial for regulating mood, sleep, and cognitive function.
This is mind-blowing. So could an imbalanced gut microbiome contribute to mood disorders or even cognitive decline?
There's definitely growing evidence to suggest that gut dysbiosis is linked to a variety of mental health conditions, including anxiety, depression, and even neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease.
Well, taking care of our gut health might also be beneficial for our mental well-being.
Absolutely. The research on the gut-brain axis is still unfolding, but it's clear that there's a powerful connection between these two systems, and the gut microbiome is a key player in this communication.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. It seems like the gut microbiome is a central player in so many aspects of our health, from digestion and immunity to mental well-being and even the aging process.
You're absolutely right. The gut microbiome is like a conductor, orchestrating a symphony of physiological processes throughout the body.
And we've learned that exercise and diet play critical roles in shaping the gut microbiome. So by adopting healthy habits, we're essentially supporting this conductor and ensuring that the symphony plays harmoniously.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It truly highlights the interconnectedness of our bodies and the power of lifestyle choices to influence our overall well-being.
This deep dive has been so insightful already.
By focusing on a balanced and diverse diet, regular exercise, prioritizing sleep, managing stress, and considering targeted interventions like prebiotics or probiotics, when appropriate, we can really empower ourselves to live healthier and more vibrant lives.
Thank you so much for guiding us through this fascinating deep dive. It's truly been eye-opening.
It's been my pleasure. The journey of discovery never truly ends, so keep learning, keep questioning, and keep exploring that amazing world within you.